Hey everyone, it's Eric and thanks for tuning in. So last month I was traveling. I spent around 5 days in Colorado and it was really exciting for me because the last time I was in this state was more than 10 years ago now, around 2014. And I was really excited because I only get to travel a couple of times a year. In this video, I'll take you through some of the most interesting things I did and give you a general idea of what Denver and Boulder are like. Now, those of you who are native to this area might think that what I did is pretty touristy, but I think that adds to the charm of traveling, especially if you're pretty unfamiliar with the area. Anyway, let's get into it. So on day one, we got to JFK Airport around 6 a.m. and after a 4-hour flight and landing at Denver International Airport, the environment and the vibe was immediately different. First off, it was snowing and really cold, and just the airport is much different from JFK. It's probably cleaner and it's much more spaced out, and getting around is much more simple thanks to the shuttle train service. One really convenient thing to point out is just how good the transportation is in Colorado thanks to their bus and their train system. It's really cheap, and because of that, I didn't need to Uber around at all. So the first thing we did upon arriving in downtown Denver was we got pastries from a local bakery called LoDough Bakery. It was really tasty. And then after some more walking around, checking out some shops, we got dinner at a really popular Mexican restaurant in the area called Alma, Fonda. The decor and interior was really beautiful and welcoming, and the food was just fantastic. And not only that, the employees there were really accommodating and friendly as well. They even gave us recommendations for activities and other food to check out. After dinner, we walked around some more and ended up at the REI store, which was just insane. I've talked about before how much I like the REI store in Soho, but this Denver one in comparison is like a warehouse. Upon entering the main space, you see this huge rock climbing wall, which was the coolest part of the store. And just the entire location is just honestly immense. Like huge ceilings, vast, pretty much anything you could think of related to the outdoors or camping or hiking, literally any use case you can think of. If I needed to buy anything related to this, I could have spent the whole day here. Anyway, after spending some time just browsing, exploring the store, we went back to our hotel and settled in for the night. Now, on to day two. This was probably my favorite day of the entire trip. We took a day trip to Boulder, and again, the transportation is really convenient. We only spent about $6 a person taking the bus from Denver to Boulder. We spent the majority of the day walking on Pearl Street, which from my understanding is the main shopping/walking area of Boulder. We got brunch at a cafe called Boxcar Coffee Roasters. This is a recommendation from the locals, and the coffee, sandwiches, and pastries here were really good. I especially liked the rye chocolate chip cookie, which is saying a lot because I'm usually not a dessert person. After that brunch, just a few blocks down is the Patagonia store. And if you've watched any of my videos, you would know that I love Patagonia. So I was really excited to check out the Boulder location. I really enjoyed looking at the Boulder exclusive merch and other items that they had. And one thing I really liked about the store was they had this huge plaque where they showed off some vintage Patagonia clothing, which really added to the aesthetic of heritage and outdoorsiness to the interior. After checking out that, we spent some more time walking down through Pearl Street, and any stores that caught our eye, we spent some time in just looking and shopping around, and overall it was just really relaxing and chill. At the end of Pearl Street was maybe why I was so excited to go to Boulder, and that is Canoe Club. They are a clothing boutique that carries some of my favorite brands, and they are definitely my favorite non-NYC based clothing brand. I went in and it was so much bigger than I expected, And so many things corner to corner caught my eye that I just had to try some stuff on. I was captivated, honestly, by this huge rack of Capital clothing and accessories. I've never seen so much Capital in person, and it was just awesome to see. And I want to give a special shout out to the employees there. They were so helpful in answering any questions I had about fit, and they gave me tips on like what I should try on, recommendations on really cool stuff they had in the store. Hopefully I can go back one day and not just shop online from there. Later in the afternoon, we did a short hike on Chautauqua Trail, also known as the Flatiron because of its shape. On the trail itself, you can see a really beautiful landscape view of the city itself, and it was just really nice to take in, and the nature was really beautiful as well. We ended the night on Pearl Street again at a local restaurant called Pizzeria Alberico, another recommendation from the Canoe Club Discord. And after that, we took the bus back to Denver and called it a night. Now we're on day 3 of the trip, and this was the most chill, I would say, because there was no set itinerary. We just wandered around downtown Denver, just looking for things to do. In the morning, we got coffee from this cafe called Little Owl Coffee, and it's inside this really quirky looking hotel called the Populus. And the exterior is inspired by iconic Colorado aspen trees. Next, we took the bus and got brunch at this surprisingly really crowded brunch restaurant called Onefold. I was surprised by how busy it was because it wasn't even in a necessarily touristy area of Denver, so it was a good sign that it seemed to be a lot of locals there. And it was definitely well worth the wait because the food was just fantastic. It seemed to be Mexican, Asian inspired. After eating, we took the bus to City Park because there's a nice mountain view, and we just wanted to take a nice stroll throughout the greenery. We saw the Museum of Nature and Science, but didn't go in. It was just a really nice day. The weather was really breezy and sunny. A really quick note on weather in general in Colorado. I wore my winter parka throughout the majority of the trip because it was snowing and below freezing for some of the days, and then the latter half of our trip it was sunny and 70 degrees. After talking with some of the locals, we realized that this was a common occurrence, and it's just pretty crazy how sporadic the weather is. Later in the afternoon, we went to Reno, which is the art district of Denver, and we got some beer and barbecue. We stopped by at a local brewery called Ratio Beerworks. There's so many local breweries nearby, but this one just had a really relaxing, friendly atmosphere, and it was just a really nice time to just sit down and enjoy the food. I have heard that Denver is the Napa Valley of beer, and while I don't drink enough to really know the nuances of a good beer, it went really well with some local barbecue. It was just a really good time. After that, we called it a day and just went back to the hotel. On to day 4. This is our last full day before heading back to NYC, and we rented a car and drove to Colorado Springs. The drive there was really nice. There weren't a lot of cars on the highway, and there were tremendous mountain views everywhere you looked. We passed by Pikes Peak, which is a famous attraction. We didn't go, but it was nice to see from afar. We stopped at Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, which is a public park, and spent a few hours exploring and doing some trails. Really cool thing to note, on the way back to the parking lot, I saw a woman with her pet emu. The emu is named Dennis, and I've never seen an emu before. And the fact that I didn't just see one, it was right next to me. It wasn't even in a zoo environment, just makes it even crazier. And I didn't even know you could have an emu as a pet, which is even more wild. After Garden of the Gods, we drove to Castle Rock, which has a really popular outlet mall, and we had lunch at In-N-Out Burger. This is super touristy, but I'm so glad that I went because it was so good. And it's way better than Shake Shack, by the way. After that, we spent some time at the outlet mall and did some shopping. There's really cool shops to check out, such as Arc'teryx and New Balance Outlet, where I bought some new shoes. That's the last major thing we did. We went back to the hotel after, got some takeout, and then on day 5, we went back to Denver International early in the morning and took a flight back to JFK Airport. So that was my Colorado experience. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I would say that I did a nice mix of urban and outdoorsy activities, and I would love to go back one day. Everyone is so nice, and it's just laid back and the perfect place to go for a vacation. If you guys enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a comment down below on what you guys thought, and feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel as it helps me immensely. Thanks again, and have a nice day.